Hello, I'm Nora and welcome back to Novels with Nora. If you are new to my channel, then you might not know, but if you've been here, you know because I talk about it a lot. I am in grad school currently to become a teen librarian, so I'm in the master's program for library and information science, and today, Monday, August 18th, is the first day of my fall semester, and I am very excited. So this is my first big semester because my first official semester was spring of this year, so I started in January, but the two classes that I was in were last minute add-ons. They didn't have enough seats in the rest of the class, so they were like, here's these. So they were fine, they were great, and then I took summer classes, which always different than regular semester classes because they're so shortened. So this fall semester is truly my first legit semester, it feels like. Also, it feels even more legit then because my brother just went back to school, so it just everyone's moving into college right now. It just feels very back to school is in the air at the moment, and I'm very excited for this semester because I am taking 4 classes, which is a very heavy grad school course load, but because I'm privileged enough to not be working at the moment, I am able to do that, and I'm very excited for the 4 classes I'm taking. So I want to be a teen librarian, which means I'm on the youth librarianship concentration path. And so the 4 classes that I'm taking are all technically electives, but for the youth concentration pathway, they're highly recommended courses. So I am taking the public library, which examines the socio-political and economic implications and history of libraries, specifically public libraries. And then I'm taking marketing the library, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, is all about how to get the word about your specific library out there and different ways that libraries use marketing strategies to get words out there. And then 2 classes that I think I'm the most excited for are engaging teens, which is all about the media that teens are working with and what kind of strategies and programming works to engage teens. And then finally, youth media cultures, which is all about the media that teens are engaging with. You can see everything kind of goes hand in hand and it kind of comes full circle together. And so that class is really more about what kind of media are teens watching? What can we as librarians do to promote that media? How can we reach out to teens to figure out what they're interested in to then stock that on our shelves? So I'm very excited for all of these classes. And another thing that's on top of all of these classes is that this semester I have become the president of the student chapter of the American Library Association at my school, which is kind of a big responsibility to take on because the American Library Association is the place to go for librarianship information, period. And so being the president of this organization, a lot kind of falls onto my shoulders. And so I'm planning events and doing all of those fun things that I'm really looking forward to doing, especially being in an online program. I'm really looking forward to being able to create a sense of community online since we don't have that in person. So this week is the first week of my courses. Really, it's just going to be a lot of hi, I'm Nora, in an introduction post and just getting to know the class and the professors and things. But I figured I'd take you along with me because I've been very open about my grad school journey here on this channel. So it would feel wrong to not bring you along for this week. So again, today is Monday. I am dressed. I am trying to get dressed in a cutie outfit every day this week at least. And I will be posting outfit of the days on TikTok at Novels with Nora if you want to follow me over there, because I find it to be kind of hard to, I don't want to say feel motivated, but because I sit in this chair and I do my work at my little computer, I just tippy tap away all day, it can be kind of monotonous and there's not really any super big excitement with it. So I'm just trying to make it feel more exciting, more, I don't know, exciting, I guess is really the word I'm looking for. And also just first day of school, your first day of school outfit, how fun. So this week I am trying to wear a cutie outfit every day. And I find that that's also hard because I just sit here. I don't want to wear jeans. I like to sit crisscross when I work. So wearing jeans feels awful, especially when it's so hot outside. Most of my clothes are for the fall. I have a lot of sweaters and jeans and things. That doesn't really fly in the summer. So once it starts getting cooler, I know I'll be so much better at getting dressed, but in the summer, it's I don't want to do that. But we're trying today. I have on a cutie skirt and this little shirt with my necklaces. Again, you can follow me on TikTok to see those videos, or you can just go watch them. But I am very excited for this week. I think that a lot of fun things are going to be happening. I'm really excited about these classes. This is the first full semester where I'm not taking any core courses. So I'm really excited to just genuinely get into the youth concentration pathway and see what that has in store. And I'm also taking a class with one of my advisors, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing her teaching style. So lots of exciting things happening this week. I'm very excited for all of these classes, very excited for this semester. A little nervous because 4 classes is a lot, but I do think that I can handle, especially because being a student is my full-time job right now. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how much work I have. I don't think it'll be too much. And also I know when like the window to drop a class is, if need be. I really don't want that to be the case, but I also need to recognize that if it's like too much work, I can cut one. But I don't want to have to do that. So I have already checked my email once today, already sent an email today. So I'm really excited to just get started. I think the first thing I'm going to do is go through all of my classes, read like their first day announcements, and then start adding their syllabus, like course schedules, into my planner so that I can see what all I'll be doing this semester. Okay, I actually really love this angle. Like, this is so cutie. You're probably going to see me here a lot this week, but I have my computer here. Look how cutie all my stickers are. Yes, adorable. And we use Canvas, so I have that pulled up with all my classes. And then I have my planner. I did a very similar video to this, I think almost like the exact same video, just with different classes in the spring, I think, where I talked all about my planner. But this is just like a generic planner that I got at TJ Maxx. But every year I go to TJ Maxx looking for this exact type of planner. It has like this cover that's like not hardcover but not quite soft cover, and because this is the weekly layout that I need, where it has the lines but then also some blank space, and then it has every single day on here. The weekends do kind of get smushed together over here, but I don't even care because I need the lines. A lot of planners either don't have lines, or the space for lines is just so big that I'm like, I'm never gonna fill that up, and so it just feels like kind of a waste. So this is genuinely my perfect planner, and they always have like cutie patterns. So that's my planner. Here's my computer. I am just going to go through, read like the introduction announcements, and get started. Okay, now that I've had a chance to like look through everything and read all the messages and clear all the notifications, I am going to match pen colors to the colors of the courses and start adding in my assignments. So this one is kind of like weird colors, and I don't really know how I'm gonna match that up quite well. And also 2 of them are pink, so they're not helping me out here. But I think I'm gonna make that one green, and then engaging teens like a yellowy gold color. I don't even know that I have a yellow pen. I'm not even sure that all my pens are in here. Orange? No, I don't want to do orange. That doesn't seem right. Okay, well, I know I'm going to need pink for that one. It's never been this hard to pick colors before, because usually it's like blue, pink, red. And this one, they are freaky colors. So I'm not really sure how I want to go about this. I think we're going to do a purple for the public library. I like that. These colors are looking good. And then engaging teens, I feel like is going to end up being orange. So I think these are going to be our colors, which fun to see in my planner. And I am just going to go through all of the syllabi and add all of the assignments in, just going in order of like the way the courses show up, and then just going through the entire year and adding in all of the assignments. So this usually takes the longest time, but after I do this, I feel so prepared for the semester and just so ready for my assignments and so ready to take on the courses. So it takes a lot of time up front, but honestly it's really fun. It's also a good way to like acquaint myself with what the expectations of the course are, and like, because typically courses, I think all school courses are kind of like this, maybe not high school, but like college and now grad school, most of the classes that I've taken have had assignments where it's like Sunday, Monday, or like it's usually like Thursday, Sunday due dates, or if there's just one, it'll be like a Friday. And so getting to know like the flow and the like rhythm of the class, this is really helpful for that. So I'm going to give you a time lapse of me adding all of these into my planner. Most stressful planner fill out that I've ever done. None of these classes have done their course schedule in the same way, which is like fine, but they all did it in the most confusing way possible. So I had to check like in the course through like a linked Google Doc and in my email to get this. And it seems like we're gonna be booked and busy. This is what my first week is looking like. You can see nice and colorful, lots going on. And so week 1 is Monday, August 18th through Sunday, August 24th. And we go all the way through week 16, Monday, December 1st through Sunday, December 7th. So quite a long semester, but there's also a lot of breaks in here. Like we have a fall break, Thanksgiving break, we have Labor Day. So And all of the classes do the breaks differently. Like some are just like, it's an online class, here's your assignment, and some are like, no, we're taking like a whole week off. So we'll see. There's also just like weeks that like some of the classes just like skip, and there's just like nothing scheduled for those weeks. And so it's like I'll still be like reading and like watching lectures and doing things, but there's no assignment, which is really interesting. Like this week 6, Monday September 22nd through Sunday the 28th, I only have assignments for 2 of my classes. Like it's just very interesting. And then like week 7, that is supposedly fall break, I have 3 assignments for 1 class. Like it's just very interesting to see how they all do it. And that's the thing about being in an online course, is that some professors do not care about the breaks. They're like, you're at home on your computer anyway, like why not just do the assignments, which is like fine, I guess. And it's usually like not all of my classes that like that. It's usually only 1 or 2, so like it's fine, but like it would be nice to actually, you know, have a break, but we'll see. So this week I have 4 introduction posts, like I said, but 1 is a video that I have to do, so that'll be fun. And then I have a discussion and a response. So that is me filling out my planner. That was honestly, it took so much longer than I thought because I had to check in so many places just to find the information I was looking for, but I did get it all in, so there's that. I'm actually quite excited about this. It looks like it's mostly going to be like discussions and assignments and things, but then my 1 class does actually have, I think 3 or 4 times in the semester, we can meet as a Zoom to do a discussion. So like actually talking to people and not just, yes, I really agree with that in the discussion board. So I'm really looking forward to that. But now that I've done all this, I'm just going to go through the Canvas courses and like get used to how everything's set up, because every professor does it differently. So just see what everything is going on in there, read everyone's introduction post that they've already posted, and then the ones that are just discussions, I'll probably do mine as well. So you'll probably get another time lapse. I'm so sorry. Today's gonna be a lot of time lapses because if I filmed it just like regular length, you would be here for hours because this takes so long. Like it took almost a full hour just to do this. And so what you saw, you don't need the whole thing, right? And so this, I feel like you also don't need to see me saying the same thing in like 4 discussion boards. Just my opinion. If you want to see the full thing, let me know, because I'll probably do another week in my life in grad school video. So if you don't like the time lapses and you want me to actually like show everything that I'm doing, let me know and I can do that moving forward. But especially today, because there's going to be so much of just like this like monotonous repetitive work, I feel like it doesn't make sense to fully show all of it. So I am now going to just go through the Canvas courses, acquaint myself with everything that's going on, and probably respond to the introductory discussion boards. Okay, I know you didn't see anything because I kind of got carried away, but I responded to the introduction discussion board for 1 of my classes and took forever to upload the picture that I wanted, but did that. Now it is 11:20 and I usually like to eat breakfast at 11, so we are a little bit behind schedule, but now I am going to go get breakfast and then after breakfast continue on with all of this. But I think I'll take you with me for breakfast, you know, for fun. Okay, I'm here, I'm having breakfast. I have my go-to, you can't really see, but strawberry protein Cheerios with 2 little mini donuts to celebrate first day of the semester. And then I have these egg bites from Costco. The recommended way to cook them was in the air fryer, so I feel like they might be a little crispy. I'm not sure, but that's a new item for me to try. And then when I eat breakfast, it's typically my like YouTube time of the day, so that I'm, you know, decompressing from the work, and then I have my YouTube time while I eat, and then I go right back into doing my assignments. So I'm going to eat, I am going to enjoy my time with my little doggy, and then I am going to get back to work. Okay, I am back from breakfast, ignoring the red mark on my face. I am happy to report that those egg bites were really good, and cooking them in the air fryer did not make them too crispy. Like they had a little bit of crisp, but not like horribly. Really enjoyed it. Great breakfast. They are doing construction outside. That is one of the negatives about working from home and like doing school from home, is that I get distracted very easily with everything going on in the neighborhood, where if I was in a classroom, a lot of classrooms when I was in college didn't have windows, so no distractions there, but also there's just a lot of like neighborhood noise, and I have taken it upon myself to become the neighborhood watch. If anything's happening around here, I know about it, right? But it's time to get back to work. I really am trying this semester to like have a schedule and stick to it. So I put all my classes into like my Google Calendar, and it was like as if it was like a regular class that I was going to, like this is the time for the class, this is when I should be working on it. So my next class starts at 12:15. It is 12:18. We're here, we're ready to go. I am going to be checking in on my other classes and seeing what discussions I need to do. Really just my like introductory discussion post is really all I need to do. So let's see. I have already accomplished something that I can cross off my to-do list, which is the introduction post for engaging teens, I believe. All of my classes kind of have similar names, like engaging teens, youth media cultures. They're all quite similar. So trying to just make sure that I am crossing off the right things for the right classes is going to be kind of a challenge, I think, but we'll handle it. So now we are moving into marketing the library. Okay, 7 people have already responded in here. Okay, so I am going to read through these and then do my own discussion response back. Been a minute. I was getting overwhelmed, so I need to just take some time to get my stuff done, but I did 2 more intro posts, so now the only one I have left is for my engaging teens course, or is it youth media cultures? I think it's youth media cultures. I think that's the pink one that I have to do like a video for, so that's what I'm gonna do next. But I've done all the other intro posts and I have read through everyone else's, and I have like gone through the courses, seen what's going on, feeling good, feeling more calm now than I was before. I feel like the first day is very overwhelming because especially when I'm putting everything in my planner, it's like I am seeing every single assignment that's happening for this class, so it's just overwhelming because I'm seeing literally everything I have to do for the whole semester all at once. But I took a breather. I'm okay. It is now like 3 o'clock. I did that. I watched some YouTube. We're okay. So now I am going to hopefully record this video in one take, hopefully, and get that posted, although I'm not sure how to post it because she posted hers like through this like link in this other like website that we sometimes use, so I don't know if that's how she wants us to submit it. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna do that. And then I think I need to start looking into what readings and like lectures I have to watch this week, because on Thursday for one of my classes I need to like write down the color code in here. I'm gonna do that right now before I forget, because I will forget. So let's go here. Need my 4 colors again. And then on the first day, on this Monday, I'm just gonna put them on. Okay, so engaging teens is orange. Marketing the library is green. That's what I have the discussion for this week. The public library is purple. And youth media cultures is pink. Okay, now hopefully that'll help keep me more organized now having that key. So just on the first day, I just wrote them out right there. So I have a discussion for marketing the library this week. So I need to just make sure that I'm doing all my readings, watching all my lectures, making sure that I have everything in line instead of just being like, it's just my intro post, because on Thursday I do have a discussion due, and then on Sunday I have the response to that discussion. So I'm gonna film that video, gonna see what this discussion entails, and then I think make a to-do list of all of the things I need to read this week, and then get lunch because it is approaching on my lunchtime. So I'm going to make the video and then probably update you again. It is significantly later. I changed back into my pajamas. I am ready to wrap up the evening. So what you missed, I sat down to start filming my little like get to know me intro video, which is only allowed to be like 1 minute. Like we were allowed to go like 30 seconds for like 1 minute. I got my computer set up. I opened like the photo booth, just film it in there real quick, real snappy. And I got the angle set up. Everything was looking good. The people who come to cut my neighbor's grass showed up right then and there. And it's like really loud because like I sit right next to the window, so it was right there. I said, okay, I'll wait. So I watch a YouTube video in the meantime, give myself a little bit of peace. It takes like 20 minutes. I film my video, get it posted. We're all good. Then my brother comes home, and that's super exciting. That usually marks like the end of like my like work day, is how I see it, because then like my brother gets home, then my dad gets home shortly after that. My mom was working from home today, so like everyone was home, and then that's when I like talk to my family, you know, have family time, and then I had like a little snack, and then to celebrate the first day of school, we got dinner from like one of our favorite local restaurants. Great time, had a little sweet treat. And so now my evening is going to be spent mostly just like relaxing, watching YouTube, doing like my regular evening routine outside of grad school. However, because the semester has started, I will also still be checking my email and refreshing all of the discussion board pages to see if anyone else has posted, so I can read what they have to say. But that means that we have made a good dent. I always use a black pen to just cross off the assignments that I completed. So as you can see, the only thing that we have left are the discussion and the response, which I will get to probably tomorrow, at least the discussion. The response will probably take a little while because it's still the first week and I have to like wait for people to then turn in their discussions to respond to that. But that means that today I'm done. I feel like the first day is always the most overwhelming because I was talking to my mom about this. In like any other school setting where you're in person, it's like you go to this class, you consume all of the material for this class, you have time to digest, then you go to your next class and then do it all over again. In an online grad school setting, there is no time to digest. It feels like I could make that time, but it's like the emails are all rolling in at once. All of the classes unlock at once. All of the notifications for those classes are coming in at once. And it's hard to figure out and like prioritize which class you're going to look at and then like take the time to just look at that. And then especially filling out the syllabus where you're seeing every single assignment for every class for the whole year all at once. It's very overwhelming and it feels like there's no way I can do this. But then once you look at like just the individual weeks and then the individual days, it gets so much better. So tomorrow I probably will be a little bit calmer, a little bit more focused and directed towards my directive. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow's when I'm gonna make my to-do list of things I need to read and watch for the week, and then we'll just pick it up from there. But tonight, like I said, we'll be like maniacally refreshing the discussion board posts to read everybody's introduction because I just love seeing them. I love seeing the other people who are in my class. It does give me a bit of like imposter syndrome and like a little bit of like, I don't want to say envy, but it's just like a lot of comparison right then because it's like I'm seeing all these people who have been in the field for so long and like have all this experience, and then there's me and I'm like, I'm unemployed and I've only worked in library like the lowest level setting. But it's like everyone has to start somewhere. And like I actually saw a Care Bear post, I'll put it in here, from TikTok, where it was like you're on your right path and like your path is taking your own time, and I was like, thank you, Care Bears. I needed to see that. So just reminding myself of that as we go. But so far I'm really enjoying my classes, really enjoying everything that's going on. It was a little chaotic earlier in the day, but I'm ready for a nice calm evening. And I will see you again tomorrow. Good morning. Today is Tuesday. It is currently 10:18. I have already had quite the morning. So let me catch you up. Woke up, did what I needed to do, had a fine morning. I got a new toothpaste and it tastes like brushing your teeth with Vicks Vapo Rub. So it's not entirely pleasant, but you know, so that's how I started my morning. And then I'm coming in here, minding my business, you know, doing what I gotta do. I got my little outfit of the day TikTok uploaded. Really love my outfit today. You've seen this shirt before. Did that totally fine. And then while I'm like waiting for it to upload to all the platforms I upload it to, I am reading through everybody else's discussion responses to the like introduction. So I'm like getting to know all my classmates. And I see that I have a grade back. Well, I already got a grade back on one of them yesterday and it was like a 100, like, so good to meet you. There's another one today and I'm like, okay, this will like, you know, 95 out of 100 because the picture that I tried to upload did not in fact upload because I kept getting this error message that was like file quota storage exceeded or something like that. And so the picture didn't ever end up uploading. She took off 5 points. This is the very first assignment that is supposed to be just like you do it and you get your grade. 5 points off. So I feel like now I need to like email her and be like, no, I did get the picture uploaded, because then I spent a whole bunch of time figuring out how to deal with that error message. Apparently like the files that you upload to your discussion board stay in your Canvas profile and you have to go in and delete them every so often. So did that, got the picture uploaded, and I'm like, do I email her and say the picture is in there now? Can I have my 5 points back, please? Like it just doesn't feel like a good way to start the semester, you know? Like I know in the grand scheme of things 5 points is not a big deal and it's still like 100% on that assignment, but like I want my 5 points. The intro post is supposed to be like you do it, you get a 100% on it. Don't take my 5 points. So now I'm like, do I email the professor and like say I got it in, here's the issue I was having, and ask for my 5 points back? I don't think I'm going to. We'll see how the day goes though. If it continues to eat at me throughout the day, I'll email her, but if I can move past it, then we'll be fine. But I digress. That's how my morning started. And I'm very much a perfectionist. I don't like getting less than 100% on my assignments, especially when it's an assignment that like I've been saying, you turn it in and you get your grade. It shouldn't be like a take points off type deal. But anyway, I read through everyone's intro posts. Lots of interesting people in my classes, really excited to be learning alongside them. And I have group projects from my classes, so excited to actually be learning like with these people. Excited about that. But today, since all of my intro posts are officially done, I am going to go through and add all of the like lectures and readings that I need to do this week to a to-do list, which I do in my strawberry shortcake notebook, because it gives me more space to like fully write out like everything that I need to do in that week. And then I will take this notepad, which this one is done, And then I will write like all of the things I need to do in here, where this one I do like Monday do this, Tuesday do this. So I have a lot of notebooks and a lot of different like notepad systems that I use for grad school, but it helps keep me organized. So what I'm going to do now, it is, like I said, it's now 10:21. So for the next like 40-ish minutes, I'm just going to go through all of my classes and all of the modules and see what readings I need to do, what lectures I need to watch, what videos I need to watch, and add them all to a big list, and then figure out from there what can go for each day. So, because I also know that I have a discussion due on Thursday for marketing the library, so I want to make sure that I'm prioritizing those readings and those lectures for that class so that I can then do that discussion to its fullest. So that's my plan for today. I have all of my notepads here, and so that's just what I'm gonna get started with doing. And then yesterday I got so caught up in working that I didn't get breakfast till like 11:30, and I did not enjoy that. So today I'm really gonna try and like at 11 get up, go get breakfast. So let's get started. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do to make this easiest for myself is find a blank page in here, and then I'm going to just write down the names of each of my classes in the list that I have them in here. So engaging teens first, and then go to that course and write down all of the things I need to do for that course. I've never taken this many classes at once, and so it's going to be a lot of like finding new ways of organization for me, because the most I've taken is 2 at a time, and then it's super easy to just like kind of organize things in that way, especially because there's usually not a whole lot of assignments per week, where now with this I have a lot more classes, so a lot more readings and lectures and assignments, so I am gonna have to like figure it out as I go, new ways of organization. So starting with engaging teens, I have a PowerPoint that I need to watch. It's kind of just like a intro to the class. So let me add that. And then I have 2 textbook chapters, 18 and 22, and then a different article, okay? And then I will read through, I don't need this actually. Where's my next? Get me out of here. Oh, okay, because I don't have a discussion this week. So I have a PowerPoint to watch, 2 textbook chapters to read, and an article for engaging teens. So then I will move on to marketing the library, and this is the one where I do have a discussion. So let's see what we have here. Okay, I have a 22-minute lecture to watch, so I'll definitely be doing that today. And then I have 2 textbook chapters from 2 different textbooks. So CH1 in text and chapter 9 that's on reserve. And then I have to watch 2 TEDx talks, 11 minutes and 16 minutes. TEDx1 and TEDx2, and then I don't think I actually need to look at that. Okay, and then our discussion, perception of libraries brand description. Okay, so that's that class. Next we move on, and then I should probably also put discussion in my list, and then the public library. Seeing it like this, I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed again, just because when you think, like, looking at what's in my planner, it's like, oh, I have just like 1 discussion this week and then like 4 discussions next week. Yes, but there's a lot that goes into those discussions, because it's not just sit down, do the discussion. I have to read the articles, read the textbook chapters, watch the lectures, watch these videos, and then put it all together. So it definitely can get overwhelming, but just doing my best to, I have like all week for this, so just taking it day by day. Okay, so we have 1. The way this is set up is interesting. There's spotlight articles, and then required articles, and then optional deep dive readings. Usually when there's optional readings, I'm not reading them, to be so honest with you. Especially when I have 4 classes, I do not have the time to be doing the optional readings. So we have, I'm not sure how to write these down. Maybe just, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 required articles, and then 1 textbook chapter. So I'll do article 1, article 2, article 3, article 4, and textbook chapter 1, ignoring the deep dive readings until later in the week if I have time for them. Okay, and then I do have 2 lectures. Oh my goodness, and they look like they were recorded in like 1702. Okay, one lecture is 14 minutes and the other is 18. So then lecture 1 and lecture 2. Good Lord. And then there's professional resources, which I don't know that I actually, optional just for fun. Oh, it's a little just personality quiz. Okay, that's not too bad. This is module 1, part 2. So I wonder if that is then, yeah, that's for next week. Okay, so that's still 4 articles, a textbook chapter, and 2 lectures just for one class, and I still have another class to go through. So already our list is quite long, but this is why this is good to do at the beginning of the week, and I really probably should have done this yesterday, but I had a lot going on yesterday. So youth media culture is next. Okay, we have a lot going on here. Goodness. Okay. We have 2 lectures. Okay. Lecture 1, lecture 2. This class, I can tell, is going to be a bit rough for me just because this is the one that's with my advisor, so I feel like I want to do really well in it. But the way that she organizes the modules, she just like dumps every single piece of information for the entire week into one, I don't even think you'll be able to tell, just like one page. And so it's very overwhelming and kind of hard to like parse through. So then it just kind of gets a little bit confusing. So then there's video 1 and video 2, and then there's 4 readings. Oh, chapters 1 through 3 of this textbook. CH 1 through 3. Okay, that's like a website to look over. And then website 1 and website 2, and then article 1. And then I don't think there's anything due in this class until the 31st. Most important instruction for this semester: never panic. I can do that. Okay, I can do that. Okay, and then it says not due till next week, but if you're thinking ahead for the final group project, have a look at the topics or suggest your own and consider signing up for a group. Okay, so those are all of my things for this week, and it fills the entire page. So I have, oh my goodness, okay. I have a lot to get going with, but let's see. I think it's marketing the library. Yes, marketing the library is where I'm gonna start because that is where I have the discussion due on Thursday. So I'm going to start here. I'm just gonna put a little box around it to kind of help myself out. So just gonna start there. We have a lecture to watch and then some readings to do. So I think I'm just going to start by watching the lecture. I'm gonna watch that and then I will get back to you. Okay, I watched my lecture and the first TEDx video, and it is now 10:52, so I'm going to get up and get breakfast. The lecture was fine. It gave like a good introduction to the professor and like what her background is. Really enjoyed that. And then the TEDx, the thing is, it wasn't bad. It's just this is from 11 years ago. And it says what to expect from libraries in the 21st century. A lot of times when professors assign TEDx videos, TED Talks, any type of TED videos, they're usually not super current and they're very old and not necessarily outdated, because a lot of the things she said still like ring true today, but it just feels very much like, why are we not updating the curriculum to have more up-to-date TED videos? Like there's a whole bunch. You could even just like, there's so many just like YouTube creators talking about these things who have like the background and could be saying similar things. So I just wish that we were getting more relevant, recent, up-to-date videos to watch. But anyway, I am now going to get breakfast and then I will update you. I'm gonna make those egg bites again because they were so good. I'm literally gonna have the exact same breakfast as I did yesterday. I am the type of person who will eat the same thing every single day until I get sick of it and can't look at it again for like weeks. So gonna have the egg bites with my cereal and the little donuts again because we still have some, and then I will get right back to work. I am back from breakfast. It was delicious. I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday. I thought that the egg bites should be cooked in the microwave because that's just what I assumed, but I put them in the air fryer and I was very concerned about like getting them crispy on the outside, but like it's really good. It adds like a textural element where I feel like a lot of times egg bites are just like soft and mushy all the way through, where like getting them that little bit of crisp on the outside, quite nice. And then I added a granola bar to my breakfast today just for a little extra sustenance, because I had my schedule down in the past, so like spring semester for me, when my brother was like getting home from school, my parents were getting home from work. I like knew what was working, but my brother's school schedule changed, so he starts later and then gets out later, which means that I effectively have an extra hour of work, because typically when like he'd get home, my dad would get home after him, and then that I would be like done with work because I'd be distracted. Like I wasn't doing as high quality of work because I just wanted to like be out with my family because I'm here alone all day. So usually it was like 2:30 was like the end of my day, which is like kind of a short day, waking up at 9:30, being done at 2:30. But now I have until like 3:30 really. So like just trying to find new schedules that work for me, especially with having so many more classes. Like I am not used to having this much work to do in a week, because the most classes I've taken at a time have been 2. So this is like double that. So this week is really just like getting into a groove, finding a new schedule, and it will probably take a few weeks for me to really feel set in that schedule. So today we're really just trying to see what works, but I made like a Google Calendar, because when I was actually like in college, Google Calendar was like my best friend. I had all my classes in there set for like their times. I had my work schedule put in there. Everything was going great. Now that I'm not actually like going to classes, I don't really have that. So I built in kind of like all 4 of my classes. So I had 2 Monday, Wednesday, and then 2 Tuesday, Thursday. And I just kind of put them in there like this. So I have each day a work block from 9:30 to 11, and then 12:15 to 1:45. But I'm realizing that like I can work, because usually it would be like 1:45, and I'd work a little bit later than that, just like finishing up whatever I was doing. But then like 2:30 comes around, I'd be done. Where now I have like an extra hour, so I can add like an extra block or like lengthen these ones. So not really sure what I want to do here yet, but we're just gonna have to try it out, see what happens. I've never had this many classes all at once like this before, like I've been saying. So it's really just like finding the schedule that works for me, finding a routine that works. So this week is probably gonna be a little bit haphazard all over the place until I get into that routine. But until then, we're just gonna keep plugging along. So looking at what I have left for my marketing the library course, I have 2 textbook chapters from different textbooks, and another TEDx talk, and then my discussion. So I think what I'm going to do right now is read what the discussion is actually about to see what I need to be focusing on in my readings. Okay, so this discussion is really just asking us to describe libraries, like describe people's perceptions of libraries, like different types of libraries and then different groups of people and their perceptions of the library, which I think will actually be really fun. And it's actually only 20 points. The classes that I've had in the past, every single assignment was 100 points. So I'm looking forward to this. And 2 people have already responded, but neither of them cited anything in their replies. But there's a rubric here, and for A to an A-, superior scholarship, completely, thoroughly, and logically engages with each activity, shows evidence of exceptional critical thinking, applies relevant content from course, provides evidence and support for ideas, engages thoughtfully with other students. So I do need to be citing things in here, which I feel like you always should be. So keeping in mind perceptions of libraries while I'm reading and watching these TED Talks is going to be what I keep in mind. I love reading like the assignment description and like the description for the discussions before going into the reading, so I know exactly what I'm looking for and not just reading for the sake of reading, but reading to the point of the assignment. So I'm now going to watch this TED Talk and then read these textbook chapters and then get back with you. Read both of my articles and watched the other TED Talk. That one's from 8 years ago, and it was this older white gentleman, and as he was talking, he started like foaming at the mouth a little bit, like he had like white froth in the corners of his mouth, and it was incredibly distracting. And so I went to the comments to see like what if other people were noticing that, and they were just like, oh, what a great guy, I can't believe he passed, the man's dead. This is what I'm saying about the TED Talks being just like so outdated that it's just like these people aren't even alive anymore. But anyway, it is also now like super gloomy and it's like making me kind of tired. But anyway, both of my articles have been read and all of the lectures and things have been watched. So now all that's left is the discussion. and I'm feeling quite good about it. Reading the textbook chapters, I now see why people had not cited anything in their discussions, because the readings that we did were kind of just like an intro to library marketing, which like useful for marketing the library course, but not super helpful to the actual discussion assignment. So I found something in here that I can like kind of like make work in a roundabout way, because I want to make sure that I'm still citing something, but you know, it is what it is. But I have a rant, okay? In years past, I've even talked about this in several of my grad school vlogs. When I would have articles to read, I would import them into Notability, the app that I used to then like highlight, take notes in the articles. And I paid for a premium subscription. It was like $14.99 for a whole year, because with the free version you get like a limited number of notes that you can create, and then with the paid version you get an unlimited number. And I was like, oh, this is perfect, I can just keep putting the textbook chapters and articles in and not have to worry about it. But then I got an email or like a little notification that was like, price is raising to $19.99 a year because we're implementing like AI technologies. And I was like, I don't use this. Like, I don't use that app for anything other than like highlighting stuff in the articles. Like, that is literally all I do in there. And I was like, I already don't really want to be paying for this. And now you're making it like $5 more expensive, or like $4 or $5 more expensive for features that I know I won't use. Evil. And then it took my money without saying like, here's the date that it's renewing. It just took my money. So I had to like file a like refund request. I got my money back, but now I don't want to use that app, especially because I don't pay for the premium anymore. So it's like, I don't even know if I'll be able to input things in. So I might have to find new ways to do that. So if you have any like note-taking apps that you like and aren't super complex, because truly all I do is put the articles in and highlight things. Occasionally I write little notes. Like, I do not need anything super complex. I would like to be able to like sort them by like class name. That's really all I need. So if you know of anything, would love your opinion. But these ones, because they were just like very like intro level, like here is marketing in the library, I did not highlight anything in here, so I did not import them anywhere. And the one textbook that's like for our course is through like Barnes and Noble. The like, if you have ever been in college and you bought an ebook textbook version and it goes through like that Yuzu thing, that's what we're doing here. So have that there, which is nice. I don't know if you can highlight in there. I've never done that before, so I'm not really sure, but we have that one there, and then everything else I'm just reading like as it is, and hopefully I won't need to highlight anything. But now I am going to start working on my discussion board, and I'm actually quite excited. I haven't done a discussion board in a long time, and the first few I'll be like, oh, this is so fun, and then after that I'll be like, oh my god, I'm doing this every week, please no more discussion boards. So I'm going to work on this. Discussion board is done. I got it in, I did a citation, sent it in, feeling confident. Because it's not due until Thursday, and so far only 3 people have responded, I am actually going to wait a little bit before doing my response, just to see, because right now there's only 1 person that doesn't have a response that I would respond to. So I think I'm just going to wait a little, see who else responds, and then do a response to theirs. I said response so many times, but I'm gonna do that. Now I think I'm going to just relax a little, honestly, because that is the last thing for this class that I can now check off. I will have to do my response, obviously, but that is not due until Sunday, I want to say. Yes, so I can actually cross this off here as well. And so we're looking quite good. Now there's another thing, let's see. There's another discussion type response in my Engaging Teens course, I believe, about just like our first experience with the library. Oh no, it's not this course. Maybe it's, what's purple? The public library? That's probably where it is. This is the problem with having so many courses. I'm getting them a little bit confused, which is like not a good thing, especially so early on. I'm sure like as I'll get into it, I'll, you know, get a little bit better. Yeah, so in the public library course, there is a journal due August 31st, which is next Sunday, but it's just about like describe your earliest recollection of visiting a public library. How old were you? Who was with you? Were you there for a specific reason? Was this a positive or negative experience? And so this would be like relatively easy and honestly kind of fun, but I'm not going to jump into this right now. I am going to take a breather, probably watch a little bit of YouTube. It is genuinely so dark and gloomy right now. And I found these pants. I have been beefing with Old Navy recently, okay? I love a lot of their stuff. However, it's not the best quality. Like I have a lot of shirts from them where like the collar gets like stretched out and like doesn't sit right, and like the bottom hem starts to like roll up and get kind of like, it doesn't look nice. And these pants, you won't be able to tell, but like there's a little pleat here, and where the pleat like is sewn, it's starting to like rip apart. And I was like, oh my god, am I quite literally busting out of my pants? But no, because even like when I have my pants unbuttoned right now so I could see if that was the case, it's just ripping. And I just like, I love a lot of Old Navy's like pieces, but they're just not really the best quality. Like their shirts especially, I find that they get stained so easily, and the stains do not come out. I don't know what material they're using on their shirts, but the stains will not come out, and they get on there from like the littlest things. So it's like, I love their clothes, but they fall apart so quickly, and they make me feel so bad, because it's like, now I feel like I'm not taking good care of my clothes. Like these pants, I haven't even had that long, like maybe a month or two, and they're already like ripping right there. But it, like, I know that it's not really my fault. Like, I should be able to wear my pants and not be afraid of the pleats coming undone. Like that is like a really weird part of the pant to be having an issue. So that kind of put me in a bit of a mood, because that's so awful. I love these pants. They're so comfortable. I love the way they look, but they're like now have it like a kind of like a rip in them. I don't know if you can even see, but it's like right here. You can kind of see where it's like a little bit white. Yeah, I don't like that. But anyway, so that kind of put me in a mood, because I love Old Navy stuff. I do. But do I? Anyway, I'm going to take a little bit of a break because clearly I need it. When it gets dark and gloomy like this, I don't want to be working. Not having a good time. So I think what I'm going to do is just watch some YouTube, chillax, as the kids say. Probably check and see if anyone else has responded to the like intro discussion boards and like get to know the rest of my classmates. But that is probably going to be what I do right now. I probably will do this public journal for like the public library class today, maybe even, but we'll have to see. Because especially if that's the only other assignment. Like I'm done with my assignments for the week until I do that discussion response, which discussion boards, they're fine, right? But like waiting for other people to post there so that I can then respond to them, bane of my existence. Truly, I hate assignments where I'm like reliant on other students. Don't like that. But do I still have a lot of other things that I could be doing? I just dropped my pen. Yes, I could be doing all of these things, but I don't really want to right now, especially because I have all week. Today's only Tuesday. So I'm going to watch my YouTube, read other people's introductions, and just kind of have some zen time for myself. It has been a little bit since I last updated you, and I have several updates. First, I changed out of this pants into shorts because I had to take the dog out and I got a little hot because it's like muggy, rainy, humid today. And also that like pulling of the stitching was like really bothering me, and I don't want to make it worse. So changed back into my pajama shorts, and then I did a little bit more work. I finished everything for my Engaging Teens course for this week, which was just the PowerPoint, 2 textbook chapters, and an article. Did that. Then I went and I had lunch. I had like a little pizza from Costco, delicious, with like a salad. I do believe that salad was past its prime, because now I feel slightly ill. I felt worse before, and then I started working again, and I feel a little bit better now, but like, yeah, probably won't be eating salad again for a little while. But anyway, did that. And then I just completed everything for my public library class. So as you can see on my list, most of these things are crossed off, and we only have one course left. Granted, it has the most things for the week in my youth media cultures, but I finished everything for the public library and ran into one problem. That problem being, there is a textbook. Now, for my other 2 courses that said they had a textbook, it was through like our textbook program, where when you pay your tuition, you're automatically opted in to get the textbook, like an ebook version, and it just like gets factored into your tuition. You get like a discounted price on it, and it's fantastic. It shows up right on the side. It'll have like the textbook link. You click on it, it takes you right to it. You can download it to your device, whatever. And so when this said textbook, I was like, oh, okay. Sometimes there's like a course reserve section where you have to like go there and open it. There wasn't that. So I was like, okay, this is really weird. So I went to the syllabus and I found the title of the textbook. We're just supposed to like buy this textbook, and it's like $70 for this book. And I was like, I don't want to do that. This is like a fully online course. Even like the ebook is still like $50, $60. I don't want to do that. So I went to my school's library website, and they have an ebook and a physical version of the 3rd edition from 2018, and the edition that she has us reading is the 4th edition from 2025. So it's only one edition apart, but it's like quite a few years in between. So I just read the chapter I needed from the 3rd edition, and I'm going to email her and see if that's okay, because I really don't want to buy it, and also I'm not really in a position to be buying it right now. So I'm just gonna ask if that's okay. We don't seem to be like really fully focusing on the textbook, and she said that like her lectures are just like a brief overview of what the textbook goes more in depth with. So I'm wondering if I'd be fine just reading that one, but if we have assignments and like discussions that are asking questions directly related to the reading in the textbook, then obviously I want to have the most accurate, up-to-date version, but I don't want to pay for that. So I do need to email her about that, and I got an email back from the email I sent this morning. So everything's going pretty good. I only have this one chunk of things left. And here is where we enter my problem with my personal problem with online grad school, is that usually when you're in a program where you're going in person, it's like you have your time where you go to those classes, and like you have a little bit of time, or quite a bit of time honestly for grad school outside of those classes where you're still expected to work on that. But because it's like you leave the classroom, you go home, you have that like very distinct divide between like school and home, or work, school and home. You have those divides. I don't have that, because I am just here in my room all the time, always on my computer, because it's always right there. So it just constantly feels like if I'm sitting here watching YouTube, well, I could be watching a lecture instead. Or if I'm sitting here reading my book, I could be reading my textbook instead. And so it just feels very difficult for me to really like turn off my school brain and turn on my home brain. And it's something I've really been working on, and I feel like I am getting better at it. But when I have things, especially when it's just like skimming textbook chapters, watching lectures, watching like the TED Talks, it's like, well, I could be doing those things. It's like, yes, you could, but this is the only chunk of work that I have left for the entire week, and today is only Tuesday. So I do not have to do it today, and I am in fact setting myself up for a bad rest of my week by doing it today. Because yes, it might be done and I won't have to do it tomorrow, but then what do I do tomorrow other than sit here and scroll on my phone and make myself feel worse, because now I'm wasting all of my time on my phone getting a headache. Right, so I'm going to save all of this for tomorrow. However, it is now like 5 o'clock and I'm still just here. So what I think I'm going to do is check again to see if anyone else has responded to the intro discussion boards. For the one where we had to submit the video, people are being real slow on doing that, which like makes complete sense, because it's significantly harder to do a video, where I know a lot of people work, and so like they do, like especially if you work in a library, if you're in like your downtime or you're not like out at the desk, you could be working on your stuff, but you can't film a video while you're at work, you know, or like if you're at home with your kids, much harder to do. So I assume that one will take longer for people to actually like start posting theirs, but I want to see if anyone else has done their intros. I love reading the intros. I love getting to know the people in my classes, even in that small way, because usually with like the first day of class, you'd like go around and like say your name and like where you're from and like a fun fact about you. And we don't have that. This is what we have, are these intro discussion boards. So I really value them in that way. It's just then hard to really feel that community. And a lot of things that I'm talking about in this vlog, I mentioned in my previous video, my Becoming a Librarian episode 2, where I talked about like the things that are hard in my program. So if you want more in depth on some of these issues, you can go watch that video. But I'm having a good time. I'm really enjoying my courses so far. It just is a bit challenging, especially on the community aspect when we get put into like small discussion groups. So it's not the whole class, which like makes sense for bigger classes. You don't want to like have the whole class trying to discuss all together. It just gets kind of chaotic. But when you're in the small groups, you're only seeing like 4 or 5 other people in your classes, and you're only interacting with them. So it takes an already small bubble and shrinks it down even further. So that's where I'm at now. But tonight for dinner, I made stew in the crock pot, like 2 on Sunday. And today for dinner, I'm going to have leftovers. I'm gonna make homemade cornbread with it, and I'm really excited about that. I get like a box mix of cornbread from the Krusteaz brand, their honey cornbread. It is the most delicious thing ever, and I found a recipe for honey cornbread, and someone in the comments said that it tastes almost exactly like that. So I'm very excited about this recipe, and also just to try something new. I've never made cornbread before, but it's just like taking all the ingredients, putting them in a bowl and mixing it up, and really the only ingredient that's like abnormal is the cornmeal, which we already happened to have. So I'm quite excited about that. That's really all I've got going on today. I'm feeling good about getting my work done. Let's see, for next week, are we setting ourselves up for a good week? Yes, I do have an assignment in every class, which, you know, makes sense. So I will have a discussion and a response again for marketing the library. a discussion and response for youth media cultures, as well as a journal. And oh, one thing that I didn't mention, we are having a project coming up where we have to take these like 5 media website or apps made for younger children, and then we like make a rubric to evaluate them and like do the evaluation, write like a little paper about it. And for next week we have to claim our 5 apps or like sources or whatever, and that was like really like putting pressure on me, because it's like once someone claims it, you cannot have the same one, so then you have to find something else. And I had some in mind that I wanted to use, so I went ahead and did that today so I can actually cross that off, because I have done similar assignments, not quite exactly the same, but where we had to like explore sources for youth, and there were a few in there that I really liked that I wanted to include, so I wanted to make sure that I got them in there before anyone else. So did that, which takes like a lot of weight off me, because like that's one of our bigger assignments is doing that. And so if I got stuck with things that I didn't like, wasn't super familiar with, I know that that would just make it so much harder. So really glad I got that done. But then what else do we have next week? I have a journal for engaging teens, and then a journal for the public library, and that is about it. And then next week we really like start to cut down. That's when we get into the weeks where like some classes don't have assignments. So feeling pretty good about what I've got going on today. I might show you I'm gonna show you my cornbread once I make that, because I'm very excited and I know I'm gonna be really proud of myself if it turns out, which it will. But now I think I'm going to take some Advil, because I do have a headache. I have this problem. My glasses, like the lenses that I get have like the blue light blocking. That's why they have like a blue reflection. But because I just stare at my computer all day, I go back between like my computer, my phone, my iPad, because I have to, like that's where my school is. I just get such bad headaches by the end of the day, so I really have to like take time to like step away and like just try not to be looking at my screens. So I'll probably be reading and then making my cornbread, and then you know I'm gonna watch some YouTube. If you know me at all, you know I love YouTube and I will be watching. But right now I am reading Monstrulio. Is it Monstrulio or Monstrilio? Because I always was saying Monstrulio, but it's T-R-I, not T-R-U. I don't know, but I'm reading this for a vlog that you will see next week actually, and I'm only like 16 pages in, but I'm enjoying it so far. So that's what I'm going to be reading today, and I will see you again once my cornbread is made. I would say good morning, but it is in fact afternoon. I have had quite the morning, okay? I tried to wake up earlier today by like 15 minutes, and like I did, and it was fine, but it's super like gloomy, rainy, cloudy, gross today, and so I was not feeling it. I did get some things done though. Let me be clear. Well, let's actually back up to last night first. Okay, so I did not end up showing you my cornbread because I did not get a picture, a video, nothing of that cornbread, because I mentioned when I ate lunch, I ate some expired salad and it got me, okay? I was having such severe stomach cramps. It was horrible. It could have just been in my head. I'm very, like, I have a lot of anxiety when it comes to, like, health things. So when I even think that something might be wrong, my brain goes, oh, no, like, you're dying. So that could have been what it was, but, you know, didn't feel great. Had kind of a rough evening with that. The cornbread, however, turned out great. I think that I want to try tweaking the recipe a little in the future if I make it again, which I probably will, because it was really good. It just felt like a little bit empty, like it was missing some kind of, like, depth of flavor. So I'm wondering if the oil in the recipe can be swapped with melted butter. I think that would help. So going forward, I will try that. But dinner was great. Everything was great, except for the stomach cramps that I was having. But then, yeah, this morning, I just really was not feeling it. Okay, I did not want to change out of my pajamas. I didn't want to do my work. I didn't want to do anything. And now I'm sitting here wearing jeans. This outfit, I think, is super cute, and it makes me feel very, like, cute, confident, ready to take on the day, but it's not the most comfortable. I think it would be better if I wasn't sitting, like if I was sitting like at a desk or in a more like professional setting, but sitting in this like armchair, not, especially I'm sitting crisscross right now, it's just not the most comfortable outfit, but I really like the way it looks. So wearing this. Also last night, I made myself a little to-do list for today. I use this pad of to-do lists mainly for like personal things. So like I use this for school stuff, and then this one can go either way, but this is always for personal things. So like I have to edit this vlog because I want it to go up Saturday, but I'm filming until Friday, so I need to work on that. I need to start a different vlog that I'm reading Monstrilio for, so I can start getting that going. I need to email my professor, which I did do. We'll talk about that in a second. I need to start working on stuff for the student chapter of the American Library Association to start getting that going, and then I need to finish my book. So emailing my professor, which I did do, I asked about the textbook, and she said that the 3rd and 4th editions are like vastly different. So unfortunately I do need that one, which I don't love. Like I understand, and I kind of figured that was going to be the case, but I don't like it. So then I spent some time trying to find an ebook version, because if I get it from the on-campus bookstore. I have to go on campus to get it or pay to get it shipped to me. And it's already like a $70 textbook. So I really don't want to do that. But it doesn't seem like an ebook version exists. So I just emailed her back and asked if she knew if there was an ebook version. So crossing my fingers on that, but I really don't think it's going to be the case. And because it's a 2025 textbook, Chegg doesn't have it. So I would have to get it from the Barnes & Noble. And I don't want to do that, but I think that's going to be my only option. So that's where I'm at. And then also, every day I have been checking to see the discussion boards and seeing if anything new has been posted. And the one where I actually like had the like a discussion assignment, not just the introduction, I did my discussion yesterday like you saw, but then today I did my response because someone had posted also talking about academic libraries, which is what I talked about. And so I was able to respond to hers and get that done. So it has now been crossed off. So everything for this week is done except for the things that are not actual like assignments. So I still have the 2 lectures, 2 videos, 3 chapters, 2 websites, and an article to look over for youth media cultures. So I need to do that today, and then I do need to film that other video that I want to do. However, it is so gloomy today, and so you can probably see it in this, like the quality is just not good. So that's kind of putting a wrench in my plans. So today has just not gone at all the way I wanted it to, but we persevere. You know, I am just chugging along, and I am just getting my work done, doing what I can. So right now, I think what I'm going to do is actually work on the stuff for my youth media cultures class to actually start making a dent in everything that I need to do there. So we're going to start with the 2 lectures and then the videos. So let's see what we have to do. The first lecture is like just housekeeping stuff, and it's 8 minutes. And then module 1, lecture 1, overview lecture, 6 minutes. 2 classic videos, and then a TED Talk, and then another TED Talk, and then the textbook chapters, which are available online, don't have to worry about that. Common Sense Media, which I'm very familiar with. I did a project on them last semester. Media Census, and then I just browse their site for recommendations on media use, and then I just look at this site for investigating apps that manipulate kids, and then everything else is optional. So I'm going to watch these lectures and then do these readings that seem actually quite simple now that I'm looking at it like this. So I will catch you again once I have done all my videos. I watched the 2 lectures. The first one was really just like, here's how to use Canvas for this course. And then the second one was just like, here's what this module is going to be. So those were pretty good. And then the TED Talks were actually really very interesting. They were both still a bit older, but they were really fascinating. They were both like talking about brain development in children. The first one was talking about how screen time impacts brain development, and that's not good. Keep your kids away from the screens. And the second one was this woman who works in a lab, and they did this study about like babies learning languages and how like infants and like genuine babies learn language so much better than like adults or even like teens. And that was also really fascinating. And then while I was listening to that, because like there were like graphs and things in the first one, but in the second one was mostly just like, look at this baby. And I don't really like looking at babies. So I started looking at the Common Sense census and finished that. So now I just have the chapters 1 through 3, a website, and an article. Feeling actually pretty good about this, and you know, just really tackling everything, getting things done, which always feels good. I love crossing things out. The chapters 1 through 3 is a 15-page document that is scanned PDF file of a textbook. So this is gonna kind of suck. I hate reading things when they're like scanned in. So like when they look like this, yeah, I don't want to read that. Like this is like the hardest way to read a textbook. And like on one hand I appreciate it, but on the other hand I'm like, no. And the professor, she was like, this is a textbook from 2016, but like there hasn't been a new edition since. Maybe one of you will write it. And I'm like, no. So now I'm just going to focus on reading this, skimming this more likely, and then I will do the other website and the article and then check back in with you once everything is done. Everything has been done, and good news that like the textbook chapters that I had to read were actually like really enjoyable. Like I had a really good time reading them. So I actually ended up highlighting some stuff in here because I really enjoyed a lot of what was said in this textbook chapter. Especially when we're talking about things like screen time and like media activities, I find that when the textbooks are older, they don't necessarily have the most up-to-date information. Like there was a big chunk in this about content creation and how teens consume more than they create, which I'm sure is still the case. But I feel like as we see more and more teens having the accessibility factor from TikTok, we're seeing more and more people, especially teens, starting to create content. Even if it's not like blowing up and they're not like influencers, they're still creating content. So I think an updated version of this textbook would actually be super interesting. I'm still not going to be the one to write it, but I think it's interesting. And then there's this pyramid for healthy screen time that combines balance, engagement, and quality. And I'm just going to read the things here because I feel like I need to hear this. And like reading this, I was like, I spend so much time on my phone and on my other screens. Don't need to be doing that. So balance. Does this media balance other activities today or this week? Have we been on a media binge lately, or is this a break from another type of activity? Has media obsession been an issue lately, or are we expecting a lot of media use tomorrow or later today? And reading that, I was like, wow, like that, it's just crazy. This was written in 2016, and still today in 2025, we're having like the same problems. And in fact, the problems are getting worse. And then quality. Is the media source high quality, educational, or meaningful in some way? Is this among the best media offerings for this topic? Will the child learn something important from this media? Can the child learn the information any other way? Is this the best way to learn? And this one really got me because I found myself scrolling on TikTok, and then like if there's something that like I want to show my mom and she just like wasn't available when I was first seeing it, and I go back through my watch history to find it, I realize just how many videos I have truly scrolled through, and I'm like, oh my god. And I could not tell you anything about the vast majority of those videos. So clearly it's not the highest quality content. Even if the individual videos are like high quality and like high like resolution or whatever, bringing you a little closer, like high resolution or whatever, they're still not like standing out to me in any way. So clearly I'm not learning anything from that media. And then engagement. Will this media enhance a relationship with a friend or family member, help bond a peer group, or otherwise build togetherness with other real people in real life? Will it connect the child to someone far away or expand the child's social world in an important way? Are there any better ways to be together? Are there alternatives or ways to connect to other activities? And I just feel like that's something I'm going to keep in my mind. I highlighted that whole passage because I feel like I need that, and maybe you need that as well, because I'm on my phone far too much. It really is these damn phones. Truly, that is what this module has taught me. Get off the phone and keep your children off their phones. So don't even give your kids phones. Okay? Anyway. That means I have completed everything for this module, the websites and everything. It was all pretty much the same thing. It was just like media is bad for kids. Don't let them have too much of it or any of it at all, hopefully. But now that I have done that, I need to kind of switch gears and start working on things for the student chapter of the American Library Association, as our first meeting is September 3rd. And so I need to put together an agenda for our first meeting, at least start working on it. And then I also want to make an Instagram post like introducing me as the president and being like, we need other officers. If you're interested, please reach out. So I think that I'm going to start by making the agenda, just because I don't really know all what needs to be in this. Is my first, obviously, time doing this, so I don't really know exactly what needs to be done, but she's my advisor and my professor, and she's also the like liaison for this group. And so she said if I start making an agenda in like our Google Drive, she can help me like bulk it up and make it what it actually needs to have in this meeting. So I'm gonna start on that and let her know that I started, and then make the Instagram post probably while I watch YouTube, because I am feeling, I know I just said stay off your devices, but sometimes I just want to watch YouTube. I'm gonna be so real with you. So just going to work on this. Unfortunately, I don't think I can actually show you any of this because it's all very specific to like me, my liaison, and like our class, I guess. So I'm just gonna work on this, hope that I accomplish something here. And I did just get an email back from my professor. She said I may be able to purchase a PDF of the book through the ALA store, but I'll need to contact the publisher for details. Well, I'm sure I can handle that, and I can send an email. I don't know how to contact the publisher though. An ebook edition of the text will be available shortly after the print edition is published, which was when? It just says 2025. Well, I'll see what I can do about that as well. So I have some things to do. So I'm going to work on this, and then honestly, yeah, so I have like 2-ish hours to work on this, so I can probably get all these things done, and then I can move on to things that I need to do like personally, not so much for my course. Okay, it is now quite a bit later, actually like 2 hours later, because I got a lot done. I did the agenda, I made the Instagram post, I also made a Google form to include in our meeting first meeting so that I can like get feedback from people. Sent that all to our faculty liaison, and then also continued editing the video that I'm working on, which is the one you're watching right now. And so I've made a lot of progress. My personal to-do list getting crossed off. So now it is my lunchtime, so I'm gonna get lunch. I'm going to try a new item for lunch today, and then I'm going to, hopefully it'll get brighter then and I can film my other video, but I'm not sure that'll happen, so I might have to try a new like filming setup. We'll see. But now I'm going to get lunch, and I'm very excited about what I'm gonna have today. Okay, for lunch today, I know this isn't the best angle. I don't have a good angle out here. But for lunch today, I'm having this little California Snackin' bite-sized salami and provolone cheese pack from Costco. So it's just cheese and salami, which is why he's so excited. And then I just have a little dish of pretzels for some crunch. And I'm very excited about this lunch. Okay, it is significantly later. It's now like 5:30. I have this red mark on my face. I think it's because I sit like, anyway. I ate lunch. It was delicious. Really enjoyed that little thing. I liked the cheese more than the meat, but with the pretzels, beautiful, delicious, gorgeous. Then I did manage to get that video filmed because the sun came out for a little bit, so I got that done. Very exciting. I haven't really been doing much else. I watched some YouTube, been minding my own business, really. Like I said, it's now 5:30, so really the rest of my evening is going to be spent reading, eating dinner, reading again, and then going to bed. So I probably won't talk to you again tonight, but I will see you tomorrow morning. Even though all my work for the week is technically done, so like I technically could end the video now, but we're gonna go through Friday morning probably, because tomorrow I think I am gonna do that public library assignment, just talking about like our first experience with the library, which I'll have to talk to my parents, because I have a lot of memories of the library in my middle school, but not a whole lot of memories of the public library from before high school. So talk to them to see if like we used to go and I just like don't remember or what was going on there. But I'll do that tomorrow and I'll bring you with me for that. And then Friday I'll probably just be like, it's Friday. I've worked ahead. I am in fact ahead. So tonight, yeah, just gonna be reading, eating dinner. I'm having leftover stew with cornbread again. Like I said, I will eat the same thing over and over and over. And I love leftovers, okay? I really do. So that's how my evening is going to look, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Okay, good morning. It is Thursday. It's like 12:30 right now, actually. Let me see. It is 12:40, actually. I had a bit of a rough start to the morning because I woke up and had a lot of plans, okay? I was gonna import all the clips that I took for this vlog yesterday, get them imported, have that ready to go. My phone did not charge last night, so the clips didn't sync from my phone to my computer, and my phone was on 20%. So I had to replug in my phone, which also meant then that I couldn't film. So I got nothing done this morning. I did read 20 pages of my next book because I finished Monstrilio last night and now I'm on to this one. So I did do that. And I just kind of started the morning on a foot that I, didn't want to be starting it on. But I've had breakfast, phone's charged, everything's ready to go now. So what I think we're going to do today, since it is Thursday and I'm technically done with all of my things for this week already, I have just been reading people's intro discussion boards still, just getting to know my fellow classmates, and then also like commenting back. Like if there is someone in my class who was talking about how one of our discussion boards we had to like talk about one of our memories from like being a teen, and they mentioned how they were going into like a college statistics class while they were still in high school, and they were really nervous, but then they sat next to this person who asked them about their favorite books, and then they started talking and became best friends and are now engaged. So I had to come and be like literally straight from a rom-com. So I've just been having a lot of fun with that. Then I also, yesterday you didn't see me do it, but I told you about making the agenda and an Instagram post for Scala, student chapter of the American Library Association, and I heard back from my advisor, who's also the like faculty liaison for that. She emailed me back at 4:23 a.m. and said that it was perfect, everything's good to go, sent me the link for the meeting, so now I can get all of that together. So that's exciting. Crazy that she was up at 4:23 a.m. though. Today what I'm gonna do is work on that assignment that I believe I talked about yesterday for my public library course, where I will be discussing my first library experience. And I actually had to talk to my mom about that this morning because I don't really remember going to the public library like super early on in my childhood. I really remember my school's library, my middle school, because it was a Catholic school and we had a nun who was our librarian, and I absolutely adored that woman. Like she always had activities for us. She taught us how to use like the card catalog system, and I absolutely loved going to the library. And also the library was huge. It was like 2 classroom lengths and it was full of like amazing books. Then as I got older, they cut it in half to make one side of it a classroom and then got rid of like half the books. So wasn't nearly as fun, and also the nun retired, but I had a really great time in my school's library, so I don't really have that many super early recollections of my public library. But I think also because I worked there for a year and was there like almost every single day, all of those memories have kind of supplanted themselves on top of my childhood memories of the library. So now all I can remember is like my memories of working there. So I'm just going to work on this assignment now because this isn't due until the August 31st, which is next Sunday. But I'm going to do this now. Other people have already done it, and it's really super simple. Now, there are 7 questions that we have to answer, and it's really just like, how old were you? Who else was with you? Were you there for a specific reason? Was this a positive or negative experience that leave a lasting impression? And then questions 6 and 7, based on this early experience, what kind of experience would you like children and adults to have when visiting a public library? And if you were a library manager or director, how would you go about ensuring people would have the kind of experience you described in the previous question? So I have a lot of ideas, right? I love the public library. This is, obviously why I'm doing this. So this will be a fairly simple assignment for me. So I'm just going to get working on this and update you again once it's done. Assignment has been submitted. That was honestly really fun to just like reflect on my own library experience and then like read everyone else's, and then also just like seeing how much we all love libraries so much, and it really stems like from our childhood. It's just so wonderful to read that. And then I went through I'm going to be doing this for like probably just until the end of this week, because then people will probably stop posting, but like every day, multiple times a day, I go through every class into the discussion area and just see if new people have posted their responses or like people are commenting, because like I'm commenting on people, so I'm like asking follow-up questions, just because it feels, this is like the one time that we actually get to like I'm sure in these classes there might be like more informal discussions, but this is typically like the one time of the semester where you can just like talk to people and ask questions about them and like just like learn about them. And so it feels really nice to be able to like just be like, oh my god, like I love your shirt, or I really like that book too. Like little things like that you would typically have in an in-person setting, where if someone walks in like holding a book that you really like, you can start a conversation with that. Where here we don't really have that. So getting to like, especially with like the video introductions, getting to like hear people talk and like see them and then comment back, it's been so lovely. And so I'm just really enjoying my semester so far. I'm having a really great time. I probably will end up getting overwhelmed, honestly. 4 classes is a lot, but at the same time I feel like I can handle it. Like looking at my planner, I really feel like I've got this, my whole first week is done. I've worked ahead already, and that's the only assignment for next week, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so I'm feeling really good about this semester so far. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm loving my classes. I'm recognizing people in these classes that I've been with in semesters past. So I'm having a really great time. I'm really just so happy, honestly. And I know that sounds kind of sappy and cheesy, but like this has truly been my dream for so long. So to finally be here and like be taking this many classes, and they're all like towards like my desired concentration, I'm just like having the time of my life, truly. Like even though yes, it would be so much better to like go somewhere and like interact with these people, at least it's something, and at least I am working towards achieving that dream. And it's so thrilling, it's also, now that I'm out of like the core courses where it's really like building the foundations of librarianship, now that I'm taking these classes where it's like really getting into like the meat and potatoes of it all, I am just having a great time. I'm really happy to be here, happy that you're here with me. So that I can actually get crossed off, but I don't know what else I can bring you with me for, because I don't have any other work to do. Like, could I continue working ahead? Yes, but I don't like to get in the habit of working ahead too far, because then I don't feel productive unless I'm working ahead, which is not a good mindset to get into. And because I've already worked ahead on 2 assignments, honestly, I think I might, call it here, because truly I don't have much else to share with you, right? This assignment that I just turned in, it's like a public journal, not so much a discussion, where it's like everyone else can see it, but we don't have to comment on someone else's if we don't want to. Like we can, but we don't have to. And so there's not really anything else for me to do this week, which is honestly quite exciting, because that means that I can just keep reading like personal stuff, and then also because I don't know that I mentioned this. Okay, well now we have something to talk about. Let me bring you around over here. Brought you a little more centered. My Engaging Teens course, the main thing that we will be doing this week, and like I'm sure you saw when I was putting it in there and it just said reading week, we are reading 22 books this semester and then writing like professional reviews of them like you would see in like library journals and things. And the 22 books that we're reading were not assigned explicitly. We were given a list of like different awards and like different like list of books to choose from, and we just had to choose like 1 or 2 from each category. So throughout the semester I'll be reading 22 books for that one course, which I'm very excited about. And like I went through and was able to pick the ones that sounded interesting to me. And so that course, like there are other assignments in there, but like the big thing that we're doing is reading all these books, writing these reviews, and then at the end of the semester we have to pick 3 and tie them together with some kind of theming and then do like a little book talk. So kind of like I already do on this channel. It can only be 5 minutes though for all 3 books, and I'm very wordy when I talk about my books, so we'll see how that goes for me. But that is the big assignment for that course, which will take a lot of time because it's 22 books that I have to read, but they're all YA books, and so they're not super big books. You know, I really feel like I can do it. And I have already read something that counts for one of the prompts, I guess. So I'm kind of counting it as like a personal reading challenge, even though like it's an assignment. So you'll see that throughout the semester. I am contemplating doing like a dedicated video to it where I just kind of show the books that I read and then read the little review that I wrote for the class, so we can see together how my reviewing progresses throughout the course of the semester. And also then you get to see all 22 books that I'm reading for that course, because I'm sure like I'll include them in my wrap-ups and things, but I think it would just be fun to like have it all together, even just like for me personally, even if no one watches it, having that all together. And I think that would also be helpful then looking back for the like book talks, being able to have like a visual and auditory place to store all of that information, I think would be really fun for me. So I think I might honestly do that. I feel like I've talked myself into it because I think it would be really fun. And also it's a part of the MLIS program that we're going to be reading a lot of YA material, and so I think it would be fun to share. So I do think I'm going to do that. I've talked myself into it. So that gives you something to look forward to. I'm sure that I will do more week in my life in grad school videos throughout the semester where I'm actually like working on more assignments and not just like the introductory stuff. So you'll see what my like sunken into routine is like, and not so much just like this is my first time ever doing something like this, because like I've had semesters in the past and I've taken classes before, but never to this magnitude and with this new schedule that I'm trying to adjust to. So I think I'm actually just going to leave you here because, like I said, I don't really have that much else going on. I am going to get that post for Scala posted to the Instagram. And that's really going to be the end of like my work week, honestly, because I don't have any more assignments to do and I don't want to work too far ahead and then make myself feel guilty for not always working that far ahead. So I do think this is going to be the end because I don't really have much else to do, and I don't want to just bore you with being like, I'm refreshing my email every 5 minutes and doing the same for the discussion boards. So this is going to actually be the end of this video, and it is only Thursday at 1:17 p.m., but that's just the reality of how this week looked, especially being the introductory week. Most of my assignments this week, like you saw, were just like the introduction discussion boards. So I will see you again for another week. Always comment down below if you're in grad school for any program, if you're doing an MLIS degree, would love to hear about that. I would just love to see you in the comments. Again, because I'm fully online, this is like a way for me to like form my own kind of community like outside of school as well. So like you're like my own little student org, and I'm the president and you should join. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in another video again soon. Bye.